Well, it looks like hoyoverse has managed to piss off the entire community once again, and it's thanks to Sandrone this time. And yeah, not just the global community, but the entire Chinese community is also going crazy over this, so you know this is pretty serious. So if you guys don't know what is going on, the entire community is kind of divided over Sandrone, because Sandrone has been one of the most hyped characters in Genshin Impact, right? Ever since they showed her off along with the other Fatui Harbingers, she has been a very special Harbinger. Because of the whole big mecha robot that is associated with her, she just looked really cool. And then her story was also very emotional, really, really nice. So obviously the community was really looking forward to Sandrone. But Genshin Impact kind of messed up out here. They are changing the design of Sandrone when they release her as a playable character. Now, a few people are okay with this change. I mean, the Japanese community is appreciating it. But then on the other hand, the people who have always been loving Sandrone ever since they showed her off, like way back, many years back, along with the other Fatui Harbingers, are kind of pissed because they already had an image of Sandrone inside their minds. And right now, hoyoverse just went ahead and changed it completely. So what exactly is going on? Let's talk about this Sandrone controversy, because it feels like hoyoverse is just jumping from one controversy puddle to another. Just a few weeks back, people were talking about boycotting Genshin. Well, now it looks like the Chinese community is actually boycotting Genshin over Sandrone. So this is why the design is pissing off a lot of players, right? Compared to Sandrone that they have shown in the story and in all the previous Harbinger images and everything, Sandrone now seems to not only have a shorter skirt, but her color of the clothes has also changed. Her entire corset has changed, and now people are saying that she just looks like every generic hoyoverse female character. I mean, to be honest, the decision to make her skirt smaller kind of feels like nonsense to me, because her design was absolutely perfect. So why would you go ahead and do that? I really don't understand. But now, because of a shorter skirt, it's become kind of a very repetitive design. When you take a look at other Genshin characters that we have had in the past, like Yai, Raiden, Shilonen, every female character at this point seems to have the same short skirt design. And sometimes they play around with it, like they give these characters longer socks to cover up their entire leg. But at the end of the day, it's the same repetitive design. It's a short skirt with a long back extension. And from the front, they either keep the legs bare or they give long thigh highs. But that has been the design language for most of the female characters. And Sandrone being such an iconic character in hoyoverse, getting the same exact treatment, I can understand why a lot of people would be pissed. Because if they would have shown Sandrone with a shorter skirt right from the very beginning, when they showed Sandrone for the first time, people would not really be pissed, right? But it looks like they intentionally went ahead and changed the design to make it similar to every single female character out there. This kind of killed the whole special or unique appeal about Sandrone. And honestly, when you take a look at characters like Shilonen, it makes sense for them to have a shorter skirt because they are from Natlan, right? Natlan is a more hotter region, so people will obviously be wearing clothes like that because it's just way too hot, right? But then you take a look at Nordkrai or Snezhnaya. Now these are proper cold areas. Snezhnaya literally gets snow, and in Nordkrai is also like a very cold area. And then you have characters like Loma in Nordkrai. Like, what even is going on? What even is going on? In the name of fan service, you are creating literally impractical character designs. And Nordkrai was still, I mean, I can accept the fact, but Snezhnaya is literally a land of snow. And there you are creating characters with short skirts. Like, come on, how does that even make sense? I mean, take a look at the male characters, right? Flynn's seems to be properly clothed for the cold climate. Most of the male characters seem to be properly dressed for the climate they are from. But it is only the female characters that seem to have these shorter skirts, skimpier outfits, just because of fan service purposes. They literally do not fit the location they are from. Sandrone's design originally was perfectly fine, so I don't really understand why they had to go ahead and change it in the first place. Now, a lot of people are saying that Sandrone with the longer skirt was a little bit more difficult to animate, which I really call bullshit. Okay, that is absolutely bullshit. I mean, if animating a longer skirt is difficult, how do you explain Noelle? How do you explain Barbara? I'm talking about 1.0 characters. When Genshin literally came out, if they could animate long skirts way back then, how are they having trouble with long skirts now? It's literally about fan service. And honestly, I can understand why gacha games would tend to go towards fan service, but to be honest, this design is becoming very repetitive. Like every single female character having the same short skirt. There are characters you can particularly make for fan service, but then when you already have a character who is well established in the community, people have been liking her design, and then you suddenly change their design for fan service, it feels a little bit weird. Now that's not all. Another reason why people are not really liking Sandrone's design is because they replaced the big robot that she was carrying around, Polonia, with a small female maid robot. I mean, that big robot was one of the biggest appeals about Sandrone. I mean, think about it. Back in 1.2, 1.3, I guess, when did they reveal the Harbingers? It was a really long time back, right? Back when they first showed Sandrone's design, she was just sitting in the lap of this big mecha dude. Everyone was so hyped. I mean, what sort of gameplay are we gonna get? Are we going to be able to use that mecha in fight? How cool will it be if we can use a big ass robot in fight? That would be so insane. And the fact that they just completely cut off this robot and replaced him with a small maid robot is so underwhelming, to be honest. That big robot was a huge part of Sandrone's appeal. So I don't understand why the hoyoverse would want to go ahead and replace this robot with like a small maid robot. And honestly, this female maid robot looks suspiciously similar to the two dancing robots in Fontaine, the bosses. So it looks like it was definitely laziness on the part of hoyoverse, where they decided to just reuse a model they already had instead of animating and instead of like making this whole big robot dude playable. I don't know how much of that is true, to be honest, but that is just my speculation. A lot of people are also saying that because Polonia was destroyed in the story, they could not really give him as a playable character. So Sandrone just made up a new robot to replace Polonia. But honestly, if hoyoverse wanted, they could have definitely given us the bigger robot, right? It's totally up to hoyoverse. There is nothing stopping hoyoverse from giving us a robot that has already been destroyed. Okay, literally nothing. They don't have to give us extremely lore accurate characters. I mean, they have not done it in the past as well, right? They don't really give us lore accurate characters. If they gave us lore accurate Nuvilet, imagine how strong he would be, right? But we don't get lore accurate characters. So this decision to like replace Polonia with a smaller robot because that is what happened in the lore, I feel like it's kind of bullshit. Okay, it doesn't make sense. They created more than 3 years of hype for this robot, all for it to just be useless. And that's just not all what they have done wrong with Sandrone. I mean, if you take a look at the gameplay, obviously I cannot show you the gameplay because yeah, it comes under leaks. But Sandrone's gameplay also has a bit of a problem in the sense that her animations seem to be pretty much copied from other characters. If you take a look at Sandrone's basic attacks, they seem to be very similar to Kave's basic attacks. In fact, suspiciously similar. Then you take a look at the charge attack of the robot, and it looks to be exactly the same like Nuvilet's charge attack. Then you take a look at Sandrone's dash, and it looks to be exactly the same like Mizuki's dash. So I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, yeah, a lot of characters previously did have repeated animations, kinda in some parts, but this looks like a whole copy-paste homework at this point because almost every single one of our animations seems to come from one of the previous characters, right? And they had so many years to cook up this character. They have a whole alternate robot. She is a puppeteer. She uses that robot to fight. So there could have been so many different possibilities that Hoyo could have cooked to make her combat animations really, really unique. I mean, take a look at Tartaglia, right? He is still the only character to use double swords, using his hydro powers to create 2 different swords and then going melee. That is the kind of uniqueness you would want from Sandrone, because they got more than enough time to play around with this character, and she has a whole ass robot with her. Instead, what we got was just copy-pasted animations from previous characters. So I can totally see why people would be very pissed. And not just that, in order to make things worse, one of the coolest parts of our kit, basically the laser beam that the robot shoots, they locked it behind the C6 constellation. This is probably the first time hoyoverse has done this. I mean, normally C6 is more of a power spike, right? It doubles your damage, or it adds to the existing abilities. But locking an entire attack mechanism behind C6 is kind of crazy. It's a whole moveset, right? So the whole moveset becomes inaccessible unless you are ready to splurge an insane amount of money, because C6 takes a huge amount of money. You need 7 copies of this character just to get the laser beam. And that laser beam is the coolest part of our character. I mean, who doesn't like a laser beam? So that, in my opinion, once again, was a really, really bad decision from their part. It would be fine if they would have put it in C1. It would be okay, because they have done it in the past. Like C1 adding to a character's abilities, they have done it. But putting it in C6, that is insane. Well, looks like people are very frustrated right now. The Chinese community has gone absolutely crazy, and they are deciding to boycott Genshin, mass uninstall Genshin from their phones if hoyoverse doesn't fix Sandrone. And you know, when the Chinese community is mad, things are serious. Because, hey, let's be real. Even if hoyoverse doesn't give a shit about global players, which I guess at this point everyone should know, right? hoyoverse doesn't really give a shit about us. But yeah, even if hoyoverse doesn't care about global players, they really do care about the Chinese community. And the Chinese community is probably the only community out there with enough power to influence hoyoverse. So let's hope that they can convince hoyoverse to bring back the old Sandrone that everyone loves. And with that being said, hoyoverse is kind of in a sticky situation. I mean, man, going from one boycott to another controversy boycott, it's not really looking good. I wonder how the hoyoverse management room looks like right now. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, do let me know. I'm trying to grow this channel, and I would really love your feedback on this content, on how I can improve my channel or anything regarding that sort. And are you going to pull for Sandrone after, this whole controversy? Let me know about that as well. I'll see you guys in the next one.